Namaste. Let us talk about the subtle energies of yoga. We will touch today upon the Koshas. In philosophy, the body, mind, and spirit are understood as one continuity. But in fact, Eastern and Western thought were never in agreement with each other. Western philosophy originated from Greece, while Eastern philosophy originated in India. Greek philosophers in general and Western philosophers in particular spoke about the object. Indian philosophers in general and in particular spoke about consciousness. And for many centuries, many Westerner thinkers could never accept anything beyond object as tangible. Here is the object. I can see it, I can touch it, therefore it is. However, in yoga and Vedanta, the objects of consciousness are interrelated. In fact, modern science, what you call physics, speaks in exactly the same way as yoga. Both modern physics and ancient yoga move absolutely parallel to each other. In fact, you will be surprised that a lot of reality of the matter and consciousness, which is body, mind, and spirit, are interconnected and interpenetrating. Therefore, a person is a combination of three things. Firstly, the gross body. Secondly, the subtle or the astral body. And thirdly, the causal or the unconscious body. And these three bodies, they constitute you, me, and everyone. But they are only gross divisions, broad classification. Each body has a dimension and a layer. You can call it a field. Just as you say that electromagnetic field or radioactive field, similarly, we can say that in Vedanta, there are fields in your body and they are called as Koshas, which means sheets. And these Koshas are 5 in number: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. The Koshas are further subdivided, and they are subdivision of 3 bodies, which represent the 3 states of your daily experience. Every day you have 3 types of experiences. One is the waking experience, in which you experience through your senses and mind. The second experience is dream. In dream, you do not experience through the senses, but through your subconscious mind. And the third experience is sleep, in which there is no knowledge of time and space, no knowledge about yourself or about anything in sleep. But when you get up in the morning, you know that you slept well the night before. So every day, the individual self undergoes these 3 experiences alternately. These experiences relate to a particular field. Whatever your individual self goes to one particular realm, it has one experience. And as your individual self changes the field, realm, or dimension, it has another experience. For example, if you go to North Pole, you will feel cold. Or if you go to a tropical country, you will feel hot. Let us look at the first kosha, the Annamaya kosha. The first kosha is Annamaya kosha, the physical body. Annamaya kosha can be sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. The word sattva means harmony, balance and tranquility. When you create a balance between activity and peace, Rajas means dynamic, active and violent. And Tamas means dull and inert. So through the Hatha Yoga, Shat Karmas or Shat Kriyas, you develop a Sattvic Annamaya Kosh. And when Annamaya Kosh becomes Sattvic, then the bounce of energy is much greater. In modern science, it is said that all the time, the whole day and night, atomic energy is bouncing in and out from this physical body like a pendulum. Of course, you cannot see it. Just like a pendulum swings from left to right and right to left, in the same manner, everybody is emitting or throwing away these atoms. The sattvic body creates a longer bouncing, a tamasic body perhaps no bouncing at all, while the rajasic body has a period when it is creating a bounce and then it goes for a period of rest. But this period of the rest, in the same way, for example, like a pendulum, when it goes to the left and then turns to the right, there is a moment of rest. In the same way, when you do pranayam, in between inhalation and exhalation, there is a point of rest, and this is called timelessness, and it is very short. Sometimes it can be 1,000th part of 1 second, and sometimes a 10,000th part of a second. And in this short period, the body transmits energy, which is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. Therefore, Annamaya Kosh is the container of all other koshas. So, the Annamaya Kosh has to be cleansed, and it comes under control through the practices of Shat Karma and Hatha Yoga. That is why we try to practice the asanas, and the body, which is very mucus oriented, kapha oriented, should definitely practice Shat Karmas followed by asanas. We will now look at the second kosha, which is the Pranamaya kosha. This kosha is composed of prana or life force, and the prana is a part of cosmic life. Each and every creature, each and everything in this world is a part of cosmic life. Prana is the force of energy for all kinds of motion. Prana is a Sanskrit word meaning movement, motion or vibration. Pranic energy is in constant motion throughout the life. It is not only in human beings, animals, herbs or trees, but also in oceans and mountains and minerals and bacteria. The tiniest part of the atom has prana. This prana is both visible and invisible. We need not talk about invisible prana now. Visible prana is manifesting before you. Wherever there is prana, there is movement, growth, change and activity. Wherever there is no prana, there is no activity. When we die, the body dissipates because it has become completely bereft of prana. Prana is the item of your total composition and should also be dealt with in yoga. If the pranas are agitated or if there is a pranic imbalance, there is imbalance everywhere. To understand prana, you need to know a little about positive and negative atoms. The pranas are in the atmosphere in the form of positive and negative ions, and they are circulating throughout, bouncing, migrating and reintegrating. A balance has to be created between them. If you study the science of behavior of positive and negative ions, you will understand the importance of balancing the prana in the body, because prana represents the positive energy in the body and mind represents the negative energy. When there is a balance between positive and negative energy, then you can see illumination and sattwicness and differentiate between darkness and light. You will notice that when prana is in balance, everything is in harmony. And when prana is not in balance, everything is in disharmony. The prana is responsible for the action of the karmendriyas. Karmendriyas, the organs of action, just as the electrical energy is responsible for the functioning of a microphone or a light bulb. If the electricity which is being supplied somewhere is 220 watts and it becomes 440 watts, everything will burn. If the electricity becomes 120 volts, then also there will be a crisis. Therefore, the electricity has to be adjusted according to the capacity of the microphone or the bulbs. Similarly, there has to be a coordination between the prana and the sense organs or karmendriyas. Now, if there is too much prana, then also your children, you will notice, are sometimes hyperactive. Hyperactivity in the body is due to hyperactivity of the prana. There are 5 karmendriyas: feet, hands, vocal cords, urinary and excretory system. Indriyas means vehicles, tool or sense. Karma means action. Though these 5 karmendriyas perform gross actions, prana is the force behind them. You have seen how old people become slow due to lack of prana. Pranamaya Kosh is the energy in the Annamaya Kosh. There are 5 main pranas. They are prana, apana, uddiyana, samana and vayana. These forms of prana control various functions in the physical body. For example, urination, excretion, insemination and childbirth are the consequence or the outcome of the body, and these are the consequence of apana. Then there are 5 auxiliary or secondary prana. Prana is not a mechanical outcome of the body as it is understood in modern medical science. According to the classical tradition, prana enters the womb of the mom in the 4th month of pregnancy. That's why we practice prenatal yoga and gems of yoga from 4th month. When an embryo is developed in mother's womb, it is part of the mother's body and prana. After the 3rd month, the independent or individual prana manifests in the fetus. And that is to say that from the 4th month, the mother's prana and the prana of the embryo become 2 different pranas. Therefore, remember that prana is universal energy. Pranamaya Kosh is purified through the practices of pranayama. Prana means not breathing exercises, it is more than that. It is composed of 2 words, prana and ayam, meaning field, dimension or area. Pranayama means extending the field of prana. It is the subtle form of energy and it can be measured. The prana shakti also gets blocked. It can be in excess in some parts of the body, and sometimes there is an imbalance of this pranamaya kosh or prana in the pranamaya kosh or throughout the body. We will now look at the 3rd kosha, and the 3rd kosha is called the Manomaya Kosh. The 3rd kosha is Manomaya. This kosha composes of the mind. The mind is consciousness. Mind is a field of energy by itself. Even as prana is the positive field of the energy, mind is the negative field of energy. In Sanskrit, the mind is known as manas, and it has 3 dimensions. In fact, in Sankhya philosophy, they say that the mind has 10 dimensions. Here they mean the mind of everyone, not only the human beings, but of lower animals, the vegetable kingdom, the mind of each and everyone in this world. There are 10 stages in the evolution of the mind, from the most crude to the most fine. If you want to study the 10 stages of the mind, you should study the Sankhya Sutras. However, out of those 10 stages of mind, 3 are known to human beings: the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. Now, these 3 stages are the divisions of human minds. The literal meaning of manas is that by which you cognize, perceive, and understand. Perception, cognition, and understanding are the basic and primary qualities of the mind. This mind is connected with time, space, and causality. What are past, present, and future? They are the 3 called divisions of the same mind. What is the form of the mind? It is said that the mind moves at the greatest speed. Do you know the speed of an object? French train runs at 240 km/h. You know the speed of sound and light, but do you know the speed of the mind? If only you could create a mental train. The mind is a very subtle unit, and when it goes to the subconscious level, it begins to go into the unknown past. Carl Jung used to talk about archetypes, dreams, and visions. He said There is no known source of these things, whether they are transferred to you from your parents or from a superspace or from your previous incarnations or from some unknown transmissions. There is a primitive stock of archetypes within you. This in yoga is called samskara. It is known as the seed body or unconscious. These are the three broad divisions of the mind. Now this mind can be brought closer, that is to say, time, space and causality can be brought closer. When we are on the external conscious plane, the distance between time, space and causality is long. And when you are in meditation, then the time and the gap between time, space and causality is transcended, which means that the time, space and causality, the time becomes very short, which means that the mind can sometimes actually stop because the time stops. A lot of work has been done on this by modern physicists. The mind which I am talking about is a part of the cosmic mind. Of course, I think that I have an individual mind. Everyone thinks this, but it is ignorance because we do not know. Just like an ignorant person may feel that the light burning in the light bulb is individual, but another person understands that the energy is coming from the powerhouse. In the same way, this mind is a part of the universal mind. How can we put this mind in touch with the cosmic mind, the Mahat? Through Raja Yoga practices. We now move on to the fourth kosha, which is called the Vigyan Maya Kosh or Vijnan Maya, some people call it, but we call it the Vigyan Maya Kosh. It is a Sanskrit word, Vigyan Maya or Vijnan Maya. There is a prefix V and Jnana, meaning knowledge or awareness, inner perception or experience. Vijnana or Vijnana has two meanings, external science and also inner experience. Therefore, whenever you have any experience which is subjective in nature, it is a consequence of Vigyan Maya Kosh. Whatever you are dreaming is a projection of Vigyan Maya Kosh, and in your meditation, concentration or mantra yoga, when you see lights, flowers, figures, angels, saint, smell perfume, hear sounds, then that part is related to the very unknown part of the universe, and it is a link or sutra between the conscious mind, which is the individual mind, and the universal mind. And the universal knowledge comes to the conscious mind through Vigyan Maya Kosha. Vigyan Maya Kosha or psychic kosha is not limited by time, past, present or future. The mind, the previous kosha, has its eyes on the object, but this kosha, Vigyanmaya kosha, has its eye on the universe. And therefore, Hindus say that the Vigyanmaya kosha has 1,000 heads and 1,000 eyes and 1,000 hands and 1,000 feet. This means it can see anywhere and think anything. But the question is, how can it be developed? It can be developed through Tantra, because Tantra is related to Vigyanmaya kosha. The tantric practices act as a catalyst because it is in you, just as the curd and the butter are in the milk but cannot be seen as separate unless they are released. Matter has energy in it, but when you look at matter, can you see the energy? So, if you believe that there is energy in matter, still you cannot see it. All energies are actually inherent in matter, but you need to adopt a method to separate the energy from the matter so that you can see it. All energies which are inherent in the matter, in the same way, Vigyanmaya Kosh is inherent within you, but it is hidden in you like butter is hidden in milk. You have to separate it, you have to release your Vigyanmaya kosha. We now come to the fifth kosha, which is the Anandamaya kosha. The fifth kosha or the fifth sheath is Anandamaya kosha. It is not possible to translate the word Ananda. Some translate it as bliss or happiness. Some, when there is no happiness and non-happiness. In happiness you are jumping, in unhappiness you are dull, sometimes low, sometimes high. So your mind is swinging. In Ananda, there is no swinging. There is unified experience, and that experience does not change. Death cannot change that experience. Birth cannot change it. Love and hatred cannot make you sad or happy. In Ananda, you are in bliss. You are in equipoise. In Ananda, when your mind has become steady in experience and does not fluctuate in any of the experiences, it is homogeneous, then it is said that you are in Ananda. The experience which you have in your life every day is not homogeneous. It is divided, and that is why Swamis have Ananda in their name, to remind them that they must achieve the state of mind where there is no swinging. So Anandamaya Kosh means the kosha which comprises homogeneous experience. In many books, Anandamaya Kosh is translated as the blissful sheath. But I have thought about Ananda for many years and have come to the conclusion that there is a state of mind which does not change despite anything that happens in life. With that state of mind, you can live with a good partner or bad partner. prosperity or poverty, disease or death, in a discotheque or in a beach, a hotel, everywhere, because nothing affects you. You are where you are, firmly rooted in your own self, but at the same time, you can interact with everyone. You can even fight, but still not be affected.